You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment. Make sure you subscribe and check out the playlist.
I grew up hearing gunshots in the late night. Ghetto bird, police sirens as a mother cries. Just another victim of the Soundbrown genocide. Locals posted, locked and loaded, ready to take lives. And when they heard the chieflet, they would duck up out of sight. Like your car when the sun down, it was mission time. You had to stay alert, cause bullets always travel blind. We stayed posted, we stayed drinking, and we getting high. Marchando down the enemy's neighborhood as we ride. Put the hood, put the clica sample, fuck their side. No regrets, but the truth is no peace of mind.
G-File.
Alright, now right here you have one of the most oldest barrios in all of Los Angeles. You know what I mean? This is an old school neighborhood right here. You have Vario Alpine Street. Now Vario Alpine Street is a neighborhood that was established in the 1890s. Is when this neighborhood was established. It was right there in Angelino Heights, where Chinatown, is at now. Alpine Street used to be a neighborhood that was mixed with Mexicans, Irish, and Italians and Jews. You know what I mean? Basically, all the groups that were coming over here and getting discriminated against, they band together to form a neighborhood, right? To back each other up, which was Vario Alpine Street. Probably one of the most diverse neighborhoods that existed. You know what I mean? They were pretty deep, man. By like the 1930s, they were deep with a lot of raza, because that's when there was a lot of Hispanics. So, that's when they were like mostly Hispanics. You know what I mean? But then when the Chinese, came over here and started populating right there, they settled down right there in New Chinatown. They had destroyed the old original neighborhood that was right there, to put a Union Station. So trip out on that. That neighborhood was already there before even Union Station was there. You feel me? So it's an old barrio. I'm telling you, since the 1890s. You get what I mean? Roughly, you don't see them up as much no more. They had died out for a cool minute. They died out like around the 90s. It's when the barrio was completely shut down. But like I said, nothing ever really dies 100. So they're slowly making a comeback now. You know what I mean? They got a few youngsters. I've been hit up by these vatos already before. So they're making a comeback. So essentially making it one of the oldest barrios in Los Angeles, next to Dogtown and a few others. This neighborhood is an old school gang. You know what I mean? But they're not large in size, and the territory where used to be right there where Union Station's at, so now they moved a little bit more up on Angelino Heights. But nonetheless, homie, they still be holding it down and representing for theirs, making a slow comeback back up. You know what I mean? But that's what's up with the Vario Alpine Street right there in the west. Another neighborhood that you have right here in the west of LA, you have the ABZ neighborhood, which is the Vario aoki boys, alcoholic boys, pues. Aoki boys is how you see this neighborhood, not to be confused with the alley boys or Asian boys. Obviously alley boys right there with the S. And although they have the same abbreviation as the Asian boys, these are homeboys. That's why people get confused. And I know they've seen the ABZs 1-3 hit up before, and they thinking they became surenos. Nah, that sounds for the aoki boys. They're right there, located almost by Hollywood High School. You know what I mean? They had members there. They also had them in Los Angeles High School too. They tend to stay around the schools or whatever. They were always roughly a small neighborhood. You feel me? They had died out for a little bit. But they still have members, representing for theirs, holding it down. Like I said, they're roughly a small neighborhood. You roughly don't hear about them as much, but nonetheless, homie, you know what I mean? Every neighborhood has their riders. You feel me? And that's just how it goes down. You can find the Aokis right there on Yucca Street, because they have the Yucca Street Dukes. Is one of their clicas that they have right there representing for them. And yeah, that's what's up with the Aoki boys right there, holding it down and representing for their barrio. Now, right here, we have Barrio Uno Sinvergüenza. Uno Sinvergüenza, that's that USV. Used to be a tag banging crew that became a neighborhood. Now, I can't confirm that they became a neighborhood, but that's what they put. That's what they say. That's what they write. You feel me? Now, this barrio right here used to be a tag banging crew that was around since the 90s. You feel me? So they're roughly new. You get me? But these guys have spread already to several different cities. You know, you got them in Compton, you got them in South Central, you got them right here in the West. You know, so they got different several spots. You know what I mean? You know, different clicas in different places. You feel me? And right here in the West, is what I was told that is where the original grounds. You feel me? Like I said, they were pretty large for a tag banging crew. Obviously, for a neighborhood, they're a lot smaller, but for a tag banging crew, they were pretty big. So you know, and that's pretty much how it goes. You already know what these taggers, they pretty much are like drifters. Wherever they go, they represent. You get me? That's why you get them in different cities like that. You know, and that's what's up with the Uno Sin Vergüenza. That's why you see them up in different cities like that. Yes, they were tag banging crew before, but you know, they be doing their thing. You know what I mean? They rose up the ranks and getting their name up there. You feel me? They be putting it down and you know, holding their own right there, representing for their barrio right there. But that's what's up with Uno Sin Vergüenza. Here's another neighborhood that you could catch right here in the west side. You have the Vario Original Surenos, pues. You get what I mean? The Vario OGS. Now, OGS is roughly a small neighborhood right here in the west. They are located in different cities like Compton and South Central as well, you feel me? But right here in the west, they do have a fraction right here. I actually heard that this is where they originally started from. You know, Vario Original Sureños, or Originals, you feel me? Either way, either one is, you know, how it's written. And yeah, like I said, this neighborhood, you know, not that old school, roughly small, but nonetheless, homie, it's a barrio that you do hear about. It's a barrio that you do see up. You do see the activity by these guys. You know, so they do have their riders right there that be holding it down for their barrio and putting their barrio up on the map. You feel me? These guys ain't no chumps, you get me? Even though they may be smaller and not as old as some of these other gangs, you definitely see the activity by these guys. You know what I mean? They do have homies that be putting it down right there for theirs and, you know, putting their setup on the map right there. But that's what's up with the Vario Original Sureños right there. And you know, I gotta throw in the Asian homies in here. You have out of West Side, Jeff Rocks. Now, West Side Jeff Rocks is a neighborhood right here, established in Maplewood, right here in the west of LA. Is their home ground, their home birthplace. They do have fractions in the valley and in other spots. You feel me? This is an Asian neighborhood that's with the business. You know what I mean? I got homies from right here. I know what they about. I know that they with it. Now, Jeff Rocks used to be a large neighborhood before. It's not as large as it used to be. But nonetheless, homie, it still has its members. It still has its riders, its representatives. You feel me? These guys ain't no chumps, ain't no pushovers. You know what I mean? Those who know homies from Jeff Rocks already should know that. You feel me? So this is where they're coming from, right here in the west of Los Angeles. So, you know what I mean? You got to keep trucha for the Asian homies too, man. They be putting it down. You feel me? They just ain't gonna let up people just set up shop right there in their spots or let people harass their own. You know what I mean? They're gonna handle business. So the Jeff Rocks is a neighborhood that's also right here in the west of LA, also in the mix of all the chaos. And yeah, they be holding it down right there for theirs and representing their voter right there, putting it on the map. You feel me? Right here in the west, you have one of these neighborhoods that's a controversial neighborhood. Now, why do I say that? You have the Barrio 5th Hill Street. But it's Barrio 5th Hill. Barrio 5th Hill was a neighborhood that was already right here for quite some time, man. They're old school. They're heavily rooted, heavily connected. Now, this used to be a neighborhood that was, you know, well connected with homeboys, well established right there. You know what I mean? They were Sureños. But now, I heard they run Baisa, they run Border Brothers. They no longer claim the Sud. But some of them do that are incarcerated. It's kind of one of those things that is weird. Some say that they do, some say that they don't. But you do get a lot of the graffiti out here that says, you know, tax free and F the South Side, and they do put BB, you know, for Border Brothers. So, you know, it's one of these things where it's like, you know, I don't really know, you know, what's up with these, you know, but nonetheless, homie, they're very large neighborhood. They're very old school. They're very connected. You know, they be doing their thing. You know what I mean? So they're still a neighborhood nonetheless. You know, regardless of at the end what's their status. It's a neighborhood that was already right here established on Fifth Hill. And they keep it right there representing for their street. You feel me? But that's what's up with the 5th Hill gang right there. Another neighborhood that you have right here in the west of LA also, it is the Barrio La Loma neighborhood. Now, the Barrio La Loma neighborhood is right there. It's located east of Dodger Stadium on Elysian Park. You know, so through that end, like through Solona Avenue and Casanova Street off of Broadway is where the neighborhood was at. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a small neighborhood, but this neighborhood is an old school neighborhood. It's been around since the 20s, my boy. It's been around since the 1920s, homie. You get me? So this barrio is old school, homie. One of these old ass gangs that's been around right here in the west of LA. You know what I mean? And not to be confused with the rest of the Lomas neighborhood. This is its own neighborhood. It has no connection. You know what I mean? This was Barrio La Loma. And yeah, man, it's one of these old school neighborhoods that they were large before. They're roughly smaller now. But nonetheless, homie, that's what they are. That's what they be representing it for. And you know what they be doing right there. So that's what you see up. You know what I mean? That's what they are. That's Barrio La Loma, and they be putting it down and putting their barrio up on the map. You feel me? Now here in the west of LA, located right here almost by Chinatown, so through these back ends of West LA, you have the Barrio Arcadia Street. You know what I mean? You see it up as AST or ARC. You know what I mean? Now, Arcadia Street used to be a tagging crew before in the 90s. The tagging crew's name was just ARC. That was the name of the tank crew. And then roughly in the 2000s, you know, when it started banging and everything like that, and they became a neighborhood. Now, I can't confirm they became a neighborhood. That's what they put. That's what they say. That's what they write. You feel me? But I can't confirm that. Now, that's when they made it stand for Arcadia Street. You feel me? So they don't really have a specific spot in which they kick it at. You feel me? They kind of just tend to just like float around all over the place. They're roughly a small neighborhood, obviously, because they were a tagging crew. So you roughly don't see them up as much, or you know, they don't have that many members like at some of these other neighborhoods around this area. But nonetheless, homie, that's who they are. That's where they be riding. That's where they be at, and you know they be right there holding it down. You know, for everybody right there. Another neighborhood that you have here is Video Hillbound. Now, Video Hillbound is a neighborhood that used to be a tag banging crew right here in the west of LA. They were around since the 90s. Roughly a small neighborhood, you feel me? But right here, they're in the mix of everyone else, you know what I mean? Right here in the Madness and shit, almost close by Pico Union District. You already know right here, be cracking with all kinds of neighborhoods. So even though this neighborhood may not be as large as some of these other neighborhoods around here or as old school, they still be holding it down. You still see the activity by these guys, and these vatos still be putting their vato on the map and representing for theirs right there for Vato Hellbound. Here also you have the Vario Bishops. Now Vario Bishops, I know there's one in Anaheim, but I was told that this is a different one over here. It's located in Bishop Street over here on the west side. Roughly a small neighborhood that was around in the 80s. You feel me? They had even spread out to Long Beach. But like I said, it was roughly always a small neighborhood. You rarely don't see it up as much no more. You know, but if you do or you bump into one of them, that's who they are. That's Vario Bishops, and they're right here on the west side.